I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. This is a regular assembly meeting for Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
I will. Tim Hale.
Here.
Stephanie Nowers.
Here.
Dee McKee. Robert Dent.
Here.
Milky 2. Jesse Sumner.
Here.
Ron Bernier, are you on the phone?
I am.
Thank you. You do have a quorum.
Here.
Okay. Is there anything the members would like to pull from the consent agenda?
I'd like to please pull AM 025 and AM 027.
Yeah. Okay. Any other changes? Yes. Yeah, I know it's back.
You can see phones back.
What was it? AM 109, is that what you said?
22019. On the top page of 5.
Okay.
Oh,
Any other changes to the agenda? Everybody got? We need to have a check. Somebody person to, if you just forget to turn off your mic. Alrighty. Hearing none, then the agenda is approved as presented. And what else now? Deputy Mayor, will you lead us in the pledge, please? To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda is the minutes from the preceding meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes as they were presented? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Next item is reports and correspondence. Let's see, do we have anybody from the cities? See anybody tonight? Okay. Do we have a report from the school district? See anybody? We do have a report from the state of Alaska, please.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the Assembly, and staff. Todd Smolden with the Governor's Office. I was going to say I bring you good news from Juneau, but it's not April 1st anymore, so that joke really wouldn't work. It's been interesting. I don't know how many of you watch Gavel to Gavel for entertainment, but today the House was having a floor session on the budget, and it looks wildly different than what the governor proposed so far. The governor proposed a state spend of $4.3 billion, and a PFD, the rest of the 2021 PFD and 2022 PFD that reflects the 50-50 POMG plan, constitutional amendment. Last I heard and observed, the House's budget is almost $7 billion, and the PFD is much smaller than the governor proposed. So compared to what the governor has proposed, the spending has increased quite substantially, and the PFD has shrunk quite a bit. The governor's proposal left a surplus of about $3.5 billion. That surplus now, based on what the House has proposed, House majority, is about $1.5 billion. So that's just half of the process. The Senate will be looking at the budget as well. If passed past history is any indication, they will not agree, and then you'll have conference committee, and then they will try to work that out. So we'll see what happens, but the governor's priorities are definitely to get money in the hands of individual Alaskans and to try to maintain the size of government despite the fact that we have a surplus. And, I've been in Alaska for about 35 years now. And for those of you who've been here a long time, you know that we have this boom and bust cycle, and we also have this boom and bust spending cycle. And the governor has proposed that we try to stop that, and that's part of why he proposed what he did. And I saw an article today that suggests that Americans and Alaskans will be paying about $5,000 more due to inflation this year. And I think that's, I know that's part of the reason why the governor has proposed what he's proposed in the PFD to try to offset that. So the other issue I wanted to bring forward to you tonight, and manager might already be aware of this, but the geo bond legislation that the governor proposed, and there are some MATSU projects on that piece of legislation, is having a really difficult time getting through the legislature. It's been stuck, not really going anywhere. I'm not going to say that it's dead, but I guess what I would say is that the governor still supports those projects, and that's why he put it in the bond package. And there will be a capital budget that has to be created. So I would encourage you to work with your legislators. And of course, I can bring forward your requests as well, but the legislature will be putting together the capital budget. So there is potential to get some of those that are not funded through the GEO bond package into the capital budget. So I'm looking to maybe work with the legislature on that. And then the last thing tonight is just looking forward to a meeting that we're having with forestry. We're having that on Friday, and the manager and I and chief of forestry will be meeting, and staff. And so hopefully we can put together perhaps a plan to get some of the beetle kill out of areas. And maybe put together some larger tracks of beetle kill that we can remove. So hopefully something good will come out of that. There is a lot of federal and state money for fire mitigation, and so we'll be having a conversation about how we can use that to try to get some beetle kill out of it. But that's about all I have tonight. I'm willing to take questions. It looks like you're not going to set a record tonight. I can always tell by how many people are in the chambers how long you're going to be here. But I don't want to take any more of your time if you don't have any questions.
Yes, the same question. What about education? More or less the same?
In terms of the funding formula or the BSA, there's no proposal from the governor to increase that. The House has proposed forward funding of education and an increase in funding, but the forward funding piece is actually, and Pretty could speak to this, but it's currently, there's still currently a case in court about the forward funding that took place. The governor doesn't believe the Constitution allows for forward funding, so that's currently in court. But despite that case currently being heard, the majority of the House thought it would be a good idea to forward fund education. Sorry, through the mayor.
Like you said.
Okay, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Joint Assembly School Board Committee on School Issues, and I know we did have a meeting.
I might defer to the manager, but we discussed the Arctic Winter Games and potential facilities for that. I'm not So defer to the mayor, who's there as well. And then use of the schools for elections. And the big one is August 16th is the primary, and it's also the first of the schools. Working through those issues with the schools. Those are the two main topics.
Assembly Person 2, do you have anything to add from the meeting?
Okay, so, yeah, was that first day of school the 16th or 17th? First day was actually
I think we misspoke when he said the first day of school is the 17th. It is the 16th. Anything further, sir? And the next item, the public relations report, Assembly Person Hill.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just would like to have a brief moment of silence for Paul Hubert. He was out in the country, farmer. He sat in his seat for a number of years and was a World War II veteran who flew in Burma, China.
Report.
And thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two things very briefly. Just wanted to call the Assembly's attention to the ORPC press release. So that's the River Gym System pilot or test that will occur this summer. So ORPC released that today in the press. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of it so you won't hear about it elsewhere. Wonder why we didn't tell you about it. So a copy of that's in the web folder. That's test work that they're looking to conduct in this summer. So some of the benefits could be the power of the body protection system and potentially be used to scale up as a renewable energy source moving forward using tidal currents to generate power. So just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. We talked about it before. Just wanted you to be aware of that press release. And then secondly, we will, at the next meeting, we're planning on bringing back the Assembly a summary or report out of the West Susitna public access, or the West Susitna Access Road public engagement that the Assembly directed that we go out and conduct. Started that in January, just wrapped it up at the end of March. So we'll meet next week, kind of put those results together and kind of come back and share some of that feedback. It will be under the manager's comments, so there's no formal Assembly action required on that. But just wanted to bring that to your attention, so we will have that prepared for you for the next week. That's all, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Attorney.
So just a brief update. As you all know, the Alaska Supreme Court redistricting case was taken to the Alaska Supreme Court. Remember, the trial court found that the Senate hearings in Anchorage were invalid and basically upheld the rest of the map. The Supreme Court agreed that the Senate hearings in Anchorage were invalid, but the Supreme Court reversed the trial court as to what we call the cutout. If you recall, the Mat-Su Borough districts 29 and 30, that we share part of the Borough. There was this kind of finger that came across that residents out of Canberra in District 36. So the case has been remanded to the board to fix the Senate hearings in Anchorage and fix the Canberra cutout. The proposed maps that the board has put up on the web basically do what a draft plans was, and that is just follow the corporate lines of the Denali Borough and follow the corporate lines of the Sioux Borough, getting rid of that attention, kind of keeping tabs on it just in case something goofy happens. Maybe a lot of flashing around with estimated about the Senate hearings in Anchorage. That really wasn't our issue. Attention to it a little bit, but we'll see us later. Anybody has questions, concerns? Contact me.
Assembly Person Hill.
Yeah, just briefly. So they basically the conclusion is they're not going to do anything about ag every portion.
That is correct. So remember that the federal standard is 10%. There's an argument that the Alaska standard is something lower than that. The Supreme Court can't ruled on that. Basically, when they talked about the capital cutout, one of the issues is that both of those districts that are already overpopulated will gain approximately between the two of them, approximately 200 more residents. The Supreme Court in the footnote in the minute opinion basically said that's fine, it's well within. So all of the districts are substantially below 10%. I think that's what the full opinion is. So the opinion that came out, by the way, is short, it's only 5 pages long, but it says the full opinion will be issued. Expect that this fall.
Hello. And we don't need a executive session this evening, so.
No, it is on the agenda, and we can keep it on the agenda for at least one more
I
time.
thought it- I thought I did. Is there,
Just to make sure we don't have anything to discuss.
should say,
With that,
news.
first one, we put it on the.
Uh-huh.
You never know if we discuss, and with the Open Meetings Act, we have to so. The mayor's okay, and the body's okay.
I put it in.
One more time. Hopefully, they'll pass it around.
Yeah.
I do. The clerk's
Oh,
report
in
with the
there.
quasi judicial report is in your red folders. And I did pass out to the assembly the clerk's budget.
You might be in
I
there.
generally don't give a presentation at the meeting, so if you just peruse the memo on the top, it tells you all the changes in the budget, with all the backup documentations, but let me know if you have any questions on that, and just a reminder that we have the Thursday meeting at 10 a.m. for the departmental budget presentations. And then also, under introduction on tonight's agenda is the reapportionment of assembly districts. If you want to see bigger maps before the next meeting, because of course what's in the packet is 8.5 by 11, please let me know. I'll make sure I've got maps in my office so you can come and look at the changes to your districts.
What? It says new.
The Thursday meeting, we have a budget time.
I'm going to review it to the manager.
Yeah.
The mayor in this now, is that partly will depend on how many questions the assembly has, but generally speaking, we try to keep the
Let's
department
try
updates pretty quick to the point. My
Something that's
presentation
going
on
on.
the front end probably be, I don't know, half hour. I think we generally have slotted from about 10 to 2 or 10.
Should be streaming, but now it's moving out.
Yes.
You bet.
Sorry, one more thing. I also have a budget. As well.
Facebook.
Attached here is a budget performance report.
Yes.
That's a couple of your budget requests in this week.
It's working. Tell me about it.
That is it.
Next item on our
Girls here.
agenda is the citizens and notary correspondence. Is there any comments? On these, Hearing none, then they are presented. Madam Clerk.
Okay. I will. I am 22067, reporting the conclusion of contract for bid number 19081B with DNS Road Services
He
for
just told
tracks
me
and
one word
services
about it. And he's
project.
like, what? It's
I
not
am
working?
22071, informing the assembly of a grant amendment for the Wasilla Creek Headwater Stream Bank Restoration Grant solicited by the manager, not required by the granting agency.
Glitchy sound.
Any comments
Well,
on
it's
the
too
item?
bad. And I wonder.
But it's not glitchy.
I just had a question on that first item on the capturing services project, and it's just a question on the numbers. I apologize for not asking staff earlier about this, but in the summary statement, it says the original contract amount is about
That's not as noticeable because it's a slower.
The change orders totaling $875,000. The total contract amount final is 1.5 million. I'm trying to figure out how you have change orders totaling 800,000 on a 1.4 million contract to end up with a 1.5 million total contract.
So what we do with that one is we get the contract in place. It's good for several years. I think in this case, I think we did it for 3 years. And as additional roads are added to the borough, additional roads are added to the contract. That's what it's. But you're right, the math doesn't add up. If you'd like us to, we can add them.
questions or comments from anyone?
Thank you, Chief.
I think if staff can clarify on that.
Are there any other comments? Hearing none, then the items are presented. We do not have any business to be heard or requested. The next item is public hearing. The first legislation.
Ordinance 22028, an ordinance appropriating $2,400,000 from the solid waste enterprise fund balance for the landfill sand and chip reduction project. The company resolution 22029, a resolution establishing the project, scope of work and budget for the appropriation of $2.4 million from the solid waste enterprise fund, Fund 510 for the landfill sand and chip reduction project, Fund 420. If you're on the phone and would like to speak to this, press star 3.
Terry Dolan, Director of Public Works. So the purpose of this legislation is to make funds available for the production of chip rock and sand, as well as other gravel products at the landfill. We'll use the chip rock and sand for road traction material in the winter, for the next 3 winters or so, and the additional material that will be screening at the landfill will be used for things like facilities construction at the landfill. So it's multi-purpose. In the past, we bought someone else's rock and sand. We have about 70 million cubic yards of material out of the landfill that we already own, and that has to be removed over time. And so we're going to start using that material to make our sand and chip on the screen. So that's it.
While we're talking about this, that's how we're using something.
Just to clarify, this sounds like you're killing two birds with one stone, then, because normally you would have to pay somebody to do the material out there. So we're glad to learn this. What you're saying here is we're going to get that done for free. In a sense, I think we keep our costs similar to the rest of the
That's exactly correct. You'll see us bring a contract filling later on and propose the approval. And we'll be going out in the next few weeks with a solicitation asking for companies to bid on and that work will include the excavating and use of done in the CFP cell, which is essentially an emergency because we're not going to school. But we'll also be looking to other areas of the landfill where we need our future staff. So we just started doing waste and solving before. We need to start excavating second pods, so 5 years or so.
That's just the laptop.
On
This
this,
is just the video, so
I just did it with that too.
I'll do it.
That's
start to excavate the next step.
Might be that's-
Products that we can make better in the future.
Yes, there are. We've got
Because your bandwidth is so close to constant, it's still at like 2.5. Except for that portion up there, about 7 months ago, dipped for a moment.
Yeah.
To adjust the so that keep up traffic really slow, keep up property. And then it creates an opportunity for things like tipping forward that something that the team talked about, strategy meeting that we had. So there's a lot of things like that. The construction of that road, that's something that we have. But as you know, certain pieces of the road that we have probably should be raised in material, and we can make that material ourselves. Like, we can make this material as well if there's a for anything like that. But typically the cost of materials like that is driven largely by the cost of transportation. So if you were to buy a project, you would source if you were to buy a so the opportunities to use that in any way are things that you can buy.
Awesome. I feel like that.
I think about it too. So, it's like Public Works or the RSAs buy the sand and chips then from the landfills,
Just on the road service areas, we will purchase higher quantities.
Yeah.
We love that one some.
So
Huh?
You'll love this one, it's first, or maybe baseline all the knowledge for their microphones. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
stuff for materials that it needs. Last case, that it needs beyond what's necessary in the maintenance of the
We'll probably do that last year.
I know, he's like, keeps asking
So,
me.
so y'all keep it up, is it done, are you ready?
I know, some stuff. I do have another question though. They're not excavating more of these cells, I don't really know where they are. Are they in the already dug out parts or are you gonna be moving over into gas mine where park is or how's that gonna work?
So we are not from moving to the last minute. I made that promise to the users and residents out there 8 years ago, and I'm sticking to it. We're not gonna get into that, law or investment. Quite some time before we, and so, I think I mentioned this before, but what we really expect to happen is the area that we have now that doesn't affect the trails, we'll be using until the 2040, 2050 timeframe. And in that timeframe, we really expect waste and energy systems to become much more efficient and much less costly, and much more widespread around the United States and other parts of the world. And when that happens, we think it'll make sense to have a system like that at central landfill. That reduces the volume of the waste by something like 95%. And so all of a sudden, your consumption of the land decelerates. In addition, if you go back and excavate the landfill cells that already exist, and use the material in as feedstock for waste and energy system, and then put back something that's 95% smaller into that area. So there's a possibility because of the way technology is advancing that we'll never have to leave that area and get things up ourselves. But that does happen quite far out.
One more question to the mayor. So there's only a few really convenient places for private sector people to go buy sand and chip from private companies. Has the borough ever in the past when they sold to private sector, or would they consider, would we sell that out of the landfill? Would we sell it?
Yes, we have on multiple occasions sold to folks who like the contract for this, and we have for a couple of years. They took a lot of the street out of that, which isn't the perfect scenario for that. We have much more to do than but in other projects we have contractors working for UT coming for this material refuge from us. The project that we saw, something to go on, we sold a bunch of material and projects that are close to the
Yeah, and I meant just for like companies out there, residential colonies, and not just big projects specific.
we have not made traction that we sold to private. We have provided but that's nothing we sold about that.
Well, we'll see how the project goes. Maybe
But I'll take the work.
maybe consider selling the private sector. Because like you said, really, it's not the material of the project, it's how far you have to go. So if you could, that could be private sector.
We talked about this.
Hello? 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 Is this thing on? Hey. Oops. Oops, I got you muted. Oops. Hey. Oh shoot, really? What do you do? Got it. Oh shoot. Kill it.